Hey y'all, so we're a week into a new person in office in DC signing executive orders, and there's some things already ringing alarms. As a marketer and someone who genuinely cares about the culture and is invested in the culture and the growth of our people, I thought I'd bring a couple of things to attention on these brands that are rolling back DEI initiatives. For those of you who are not familiar, in 2020, during the pandemic and the George Floyd incident, there were a lot of brands that made big commitments to supporting Black, African American, LGBTQ, Latinx, all of really the underserved populations. These brands committed to showing solidarity for all people, which really should have been embedded in the DNA of their companies, but that's neither here nor there. Now there's been a federal cancellation of DEI efforts, departments, and affirmative action, which, if you don't know what affirmative action is, a set of policies and practices that aim to promote equal opportunities for underrepresented groups. So yeah, that's been canceled at the federal level, which has now caused the threat to these big brands to also follow suit. Brands, although, have an option to continue their DEI efforts. They don't even have to call it DEI. They can just say this is a part of humanity and the culture of our company. They have decided to come back and say that it is no longer important for them to have these initiatives. So let's get into it. They want our money, but they don't care about us. Let's talk about the first one. Target came out in 2020 as one of the main companies that wanted to make a difference and saw major discrepancies in how many Black and brown brands were represented in their stores, how many Black and brown staff they had at the executive and just the regular staff level. Target also felt the need to add anti-racist training to all of their onboarding for new hires, which is amazing. But this week, Target came out and said that they needed to align their vision with where things were going to stay relevant. I don't know what that means, but it sounds like you're being bullied. Target committed in 2020 to increasing their person of color workforce by 20%. Right now, Target's leadership is 73% white, 11% Hispanic, 11% Asian, and 6% Black. They are removing their effort to increase diversity in their leadership team. Makes no sense. Target is also removing anti-racist training from their onboarding. Now, this one is a bit difficult for me to comprehend. You've already built the modules. You've already been doing the worksheets, whatever that piece of training is during onboarding. It's almost like sexual harassment training. It costs you nothing to continue adding just a little piece of humanity so that your employees are not racially profiling or discriminating against other employees and or their customers. It seems like something you would want to continue to do. The other thing is the commitments of Black and brown brands being in store. Now, I know over the last couple of years, I've thoroughly enjoyed going in Target and being able to get hair care products that are for me and shop brands that I know that the money is coming back into the community. They are no longer committed to making sure that we have representation from the brands that we create in their stores. Why? Walmart, the blackest of the blackest grocery store in America. Do you hear me? Rolling back DE&I efforts? Are you kidding me? Why? Let me tell you what Walmart is doing. Walmart originally made a 5-year commitment to an equity and diversity center, which has been canceled. They were also giving race and gender consideration to suppliers to minimize the wealth gap. They will no longer consider race or gender data when determining financial eligibility for grants. Interesting, the deficit will be felt. Although I do not think that just because you're a person of color, you should get a handout. But going by this merit-based system, study after study after study has shown, even prior to 2020, that when you have 2 people on paper, one can even be more qualified. The person of color is typically not going to be the one that advances. That is just what it is. Let's be real. Meta, we need to talk about this one, and we need to hear from them. Why would a social media platform that is really powered by all people, especially people of color, pull back on DEI efforts? Meta specifically is canceling all equity and inclusion programs. In their exact words, the company will stop its efforts to work with third-party suppliers that are diverse-owned and cancel the diverse slate hiring program. This program was there to ensure that there was diversity in the hiring pool for consideration. Mind you, this was not Meta saying that they were going to hire more people of color. They were just saying, let's make sure that we have a diverse group of people in the pool to consider for hiring. And they decided that that is no longer important. Wow. Ford is primarily taking a stance against the LGBTQ initiatives that they originally put in place, saying that they're removing their money from events and parades and sponsorships that seem to promote that group of people. They are also pulling back on their diverse hiring efforts. This is just a short list of the brands that have decided to be loud about their rescind on the initiatives that they put in place originally to show solidarity and get us to spend more money with them. As this list continues to grow, I would suggest that we all continue to do research, as I am. I'm hearing some things about Amazon, I'm hearing some things about McDonald's, and I'm sure there are many more. But there are also some brands that are standing up and taking a stance and not removing their DEI programs, like Costco and Apple, that I'm hearing are standing firm on their commitment. A lot of people might ask, Chanel, you own a business and why would you speak up and risk your business? Well, this is how I feel. If Elon Musk can get on X and say whatever he wants to say and not tremble at losing a Tesla sale, if Trump can talk as crazy as he's spoken the last 8 years and not worry about losing a presidential election or a customer in his business, I think I'm okay. What I am most concerned about is the ignorance of our people and not aligning to do something about it. The black dollar alone, I really want y'all to hear me out. The black dollar alone is worth $910 billion to $1.7 trillion. $910 billion to $1.7 trillion floating across all of these brands. And guess how much of that is returning to us? And the problem is our communities are not seeing a lot of that money return. Why? Because of programs like this helped us see more of it, but now we're even back at the same disadvantage that we were when we did the research 5 years ago. If we move together and take a stance, we will do numbers. We're already doing numbers and not taking a stance. So what do you think would happen if we, for those of you who are like, I don't care, it doesn't affect me, it's gonna happen how it is anyway, it is what it is, I grew up like this, it's been like this, it's always gonna be like this. No, let's change our mindset. Imagine you take your hard-earned $20 from a job that you work every day, feeling underrepresented, undervalued, and you work with people who would rather see you hanging from a tree. And as soon as you walk in that establishment, somebody slaps you in the face and you hand them your $20 anyway. I think that's how we should think. That's how we should think about the money that we're spending, the time and effort that we're putting into all of these things that don't seem to benefit us. I just have to say, if I worked in one of these companies, and I'm not telling y'all what to do, but I would be asking questions from the top to the bottom every week until I got answers or until I got fired. Because we gotta stand for something. If we don't stand for something, we fall for anything. And right now, it seems like we're falling for anything. These big companies that are getting bullied or worried about getting sued and them telling us that that matters more than humanity is not okay. So I think we need to be better, we need to represent better, we need to love better, because this ain't it.